John Legend, welcome to the Daily Social Distancing Show.
It's my pleasure. Good to see you again. This is our first time during the social distancing era.
This is our first time. Hopefully, it'll be our last time. I don't like this. I like hearing your silky voice in person. I feel like there are a few parts of the frequencies that are lost over the camera. I don't like it.
And I'm sure you miss your audience too. I think all of us as performers miss our audiences. And there's something about, particularly with comedy, it's nice to hear the laughs in in person as you deliver the jokes. And I think for artists, it's the same. We want to hear the crowd. We want to
Right.
feel the response that they give us right away. So I think we all miss that and look forward to the day when that's safe again.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think it goes both ways because I've talked to some of my fans where they go, I miss the feeling of other human beings experiencing something around me. Like a
Yeah,
collective
yeah,
joy, like I've been to concerts where half of the concert is just enjoying other human beings having a great time around me.
exactly. And as much as we were doing these, Instagram live concerts from home, and Alicia and I did the versus thing. It's very different to feel the crowd, and there's no experience that will duplicate that.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that place in the world, being not just an artist, but being a black artist who is also conscious. Before these protests began, John Legend had been on the ground. You've been fighting for changes in mass incarceration. You've been fighting to change how America treats black people. You've been fighting for equality and justice for a long time. Is this part of the movement you've been hoping to see for so long?
Well, seeing the folks in the streets, seeing this multiracial, multi-generational, huge movement of people in the streets has been very inspiring for me. It does make me hopeful about the future, but I also know that there's a lot of work that goes into actually making the change that we're speaking out for. And so all of the times in between these big protests are when a lot of that work has to get done.
Right.
And so activists, organizers, they're seizing this momentum and saying, let's get in these city council meetings. Let's talk to our Congress people. Let's organize, let's mobilize people to get out to vote for particular district attorney candidates or particular county sheriff candidates. And so that is kind of the everyday grinding work of a democracy that need to be done for us to see the kinds of changes we want to see. It happens when you're dealing with school boards and zoning, so many of the things that affect the daily lives of so many people and that have affected Black and brown lives so negatively over the years have been these local decisions like housing segregation and zoning and school segregation and
Mm.
and who gets chosen to be the police chief and how
Hmm.
much budget goes to policing, how much budget goes to the county jail or to the state prisons. So all of these decisions, they don't get a lot of headlines a lot of times, and we don't think about them when we think about our elections most of the time. But this is where the decisions are being made, and if we're not engaged in democracy in that way, then sometimes we miss out on being in the room to make those decisions and having our voices heard when those decisions are made.
What I found particularly interesting, especially in your case, is that I've seen a lot of the work that you've been doing, in the space of social justice. What I was surprised by is you announcing a new album. I was like, wait, when was John Legend recording an album? When was he making music? How was he making music? One thing that I'm always intrigued by is the ability of an artist to exist in multiple spaces at the same time, because I thought this album was just going to be about what's happening. I thought it was going to be like a
Uh-huh.
coronavirus album, but it seems like you've chosen to go back to classic John Legend and almost give us an escape from everything that's going wrong in the world.
Well, the timing has been so interesting because I was writing this album in 2019, all through the year. I was writing it early this year, 2020, and I was done writing the album by the time we all went to lockdown. And so this album is a reflection of where I was when I was writing it in all of 2019 and early 2020. It's an expression of joy, of love, of human connection, of nostalgia, of my love for Black music and all the music that's really made me the artist that I am. That's really what this album is inspired by. And of course, it's coming at an odd time. It's coming at a time when everyone's been on lockdown for several months. When for the last few weeks, we've seen people protesting in the streets
Hmm.
about the killing of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and others. And so it does feel a little odd putting music out in this moment that isn't directly responding to what was happening in this moment. But that's kind of the nature of making an album. It's a long process. And I will be writing more music, and some of that will be responsive to what's happening right this moment. But it'll take a while for even that to be done and ready to be put out again. And what I do think is music has the power to lift people up, to give them hope, to make them feel that connection, feel that love. And I feel like people could use some more of that right now. And I think this album has that kind of feeling to it.
Yeah, it really is. It's a smooth album, like it's smooth. It's really. I'm serious. It's like it's comforting. It's beautiful. It's like it's classic John Legend in the way that we know and love you. And
Yeah.
you've got some wonderful cameos that come on and join. You've got some artists who feature on the album. Everybody from Gary Clark Jr. to Gene Aiko, and it's beautiful to hear these different sounds and melodies coming together. Why the title Bigger Love? It feels like that's been a theme I've heard from you recently. I heard it in the verses with you and Alicia. It felt like it was like a battle
Yeah.
of love, which I've never encountered, I've never experienced in life.
Yeah.
But it feels like that's
Yeah.
something that you've really been pushing.
When I was writing these songs, that was what was in my head. I wrote the title track, Bigger Love, back in the fall of last year with Ryan Tedder and Cautious Clay. And we were in the studio just, trying to write a beautiful song that felt like it connected, it felt honest, and it felt powerful and necessary in that moment. We didn't know how necessary it would be, a few months later, and how much connection people would be craving at this moment. But it felt right at the time, and it feels even more relevant now. And I think the idea behind the title is that this album is colorful, it's full of love, full of hope and optimism, and that title felt like it captured that sentiment for me.
All right, well, John Legend, thank you so much for the music. Thank you for taking the time.